Ladies and gentlemen, filmmakers and moviegoers alike, welcome to Strictly Casual. I'm your host, Srekcuf5. Joining me, as always, is the amazing Dorkydev. Hey, Dev, how are you?
I'm all right.
That's good. All right's good. Better than being bad. So yeah, um, anything you want to say or do before we start talking about this week's movie?
No.
No? No? All right. Start this thing up then. Let's get in here. For this week, I have called this week Tales of the Dragon People. Tales of Dragon People. Because, Vikings with their dragon boats. And it was kind of a line in one of the movies, so I thought, why not?
Fair enough.
So we're talking about Pathfinder, and then we're going to talk about the Northman. And then, news and wrap up and whatnot. So, all said and done, let's get in here. I literally just mean it. Let's get in here. Let's start. I need to fix that later. Let's start talking about our first movie, which is Pathfinder.
Okay, give me a second. Damn, I'm not even where I need to be.
Sorry, I thought you wanted to just get in here.
Well, I didn't have anything to say right away. Usually you explain the movies a little bit more and stuff, so I usually have time to scroll through things.
Okay, I'll backtrack. We're talking about Pathfinder and the Northman, and because they're movies with Viking characters. And I wanted to watch Northman because I thought it was interesting. And now we're on the Pathfinder.
What the fuck is the start of the show?
You've been complaining about every start of every show ever since we did it as soon as you wake up. Is it me or is it you at this point? Come on.
I'm just asking. Sorry, for fuck's sake. My bad. I'm just, it felt very incoherent. I haven't been complaining about the start of every show.
You kind of have. It's literally been like, what the hell is this start? Because it's literally something you've said these last few weeks.
Okay, the last couple weeks, I'm pretty sure you've done something silly or weird at the beginning.
Is that a problem?
No, I'm just asking what the hell is with the start of the show. Am I not allowed to ask that question when you change things up randomly?
I don't really feel like I'm changing things up, though. That's the thing. I'm just doing what I always do.
I don't remember questioning it the last couple weeks, but if I have, I have. But, usually I probably have a reason.
There's always a method. Somebody's method. Not mine. No method.
Yeah, I could tell. Pathfinder released April 13th of 2007 with a budget of $45 million. Grossed in the U.S. $10 million, worldwide $30.
I do like that literally the poster for this movie, Pathfinder, Untold. And after watching the movie last night with you, it's definitely understandable why no one ever told this legend, because it is not a good legend to tell. It's, if I had to use 3 words to describe this movie, it wouldn't be action, adventure, and drama. It would be dull, boring, and slow. Which I'm pretty sure are all the same word.
It's a good way of putting it, because, dude, this movie just is, for an hour and a half, really fucking long.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, go ahead.
It just drags.
It does. It could have something to do with all of the slow motion that was used. It could have something to do with not the best acting that was out there. It could have something to do with the terrible cinematography, or the fact that this was just a bad story.
There's a list of things that it could be.
Yeah. Really could be. But there's at least one good news, is like how we talked about how the movie ended, was at least Pathfinder, at least Carl Urban doesn't, ultimately get that title, Even though it makes me wonder why they ended up calling this movie Pathfinder anyways. Because
one of the titles that this movie has is where is it? Ugh, it's called Pathfinder: The Legend of the Ghost Warrior.
I find the Legend of the Ghost. I mean, either way,
Hmm.
like that's better. But it makes me think with the title of Pathfinder, the movie would be about the Pathfinder when it's not about the Pathfinder. It's about the ghost. And the movie ends with a new Pathfinder, and then it just feels completely out of place because that narration comes out of nowhere, and it's a different character that we haven't heard narrate at all.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
That's just kind of putting it lightly. I didn't really. I said a lot of stupid shit about this movie because it was the only thing keeping me entertained. Like, we started this movie when we were watching it, and I was spitting out hot fire. I'm just kidding. I was saying a bunch of stupid shit. And then through like the middle of the movie, it was just so stupid that I couldn't say anything at all. It was just silence, and it was kind of surprising.
It was just very long.
Yeah. Very long, very slow, very dull. And the weird thing about it, I just Clancy Brown was the one part that kept pulling me out, genuinely. I know he does other things, but it just was too much Mr. Krabs for me.
Okay, I should have never told you that's just what he did.
No, but I still heard like you didn't have to tell me. I would have figured it out because it's literally just how he talks. It's just his voice. It's just him talking when he does Mr. Krabs, basically, just with a little more pirate.
I mean, yeah, it's his voice, but
Yeah,
it's also the voice of Lex Luthor.
he was in a lot of movies.
He's done Taskmaster. He was Alec Ryder from uh Mass Effect Andromeda. He's played Red Hulk. He's played a lot of characters.
Mm. He was Surtur in What If, Marvel Connection of the Dead.
Yeah, yeah, he was.
mm. Right.
He was in the Flash. Like,
Invincible, Rick and Morty. Just there's a lot.
yeah, he's a very talented voice actor.
I still heard Mr. But it was fun.
Oh, okay.
The Mr. Krabs parts were the fun parts.
Sure. Man, I didn't have any fun with this. I don't know. Even the jokes, like after a certain point, I'm like, there's just this movie sucks.
Yeah. That's why what on Rotten Tomatoes it has like a 9% rotten or something.
Yeah.
Which I'll be
Yeah.
honest, I don't understand how Rotten Tomatoes does its scores, but apparently that means something.
There's two scores, critical and audience.
Hmm. And they're based off of the percentage of those people liking it, right? So 9% means only 9% of the people like the movie.
Yeah, or what it got as an average rating.
And then what does it mean between like rotten and fresh? Because can a movie be like 9% fresh? Or is it just if it's below 50, is it automatically considered rotten?
If it's below like a certain point, it's considered rotten.
All right.
Yeah, certified fresh is like above 80, I think.
Okay.
80 or 85. Yeah, it's above 80. I think it's below 60 is rotten. If I remember correctly. So that's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the like you have like a certified fresh, but then you also have like your audience rating, um, which comes from even more reviews. So like on the Batman, it's at an 85% certified fresh with 471 reviews.
Okay.
Um, and then Batman also has an 87% audience score. with 10,000 verified ratings.
Somewhere around 1,500 reviews total for Batman.
Yeah, probably more than that, but yeah.
Or, sorry, whatever. Numbers are hard. I know what I meant to say, but it doesn't matter. I was just looking at the IMDb for this page for this movie too, Pathfinder. Um, I don't like the names for basically any of the characters, especially when you get down to like the inciting incident to why this happened, which was the Viking people killing his tribe and his family, his little group of family members, and his family members don't even have a name. Like it's Indian father and Indian mother is literally what their roles are. And then all the other characters, they have names, but they're terrible. At least terrible in my opinion. Like Wind in Tree.
That would be a name, actually.
Yeah. Like, I can explain it, but I don't think I can dig myself out of this hole.
Do you feel that they're stereotypical?
Yes.
Well, I don't
I
know what
feel
to tell you
like
on that.
I feel like there'd be a little, at least a little more to it if they had someone else write it. I don't know.
Maybe.
Cause I don't know how to pronounce her name. Leda Kologridis is born and raised, it says here, in Florida. And then Nils Galp, I believe, was the original writer.
He's
Or,
Norwegian.
yeah, Norwegian. His was he was the original writer of the original Pathfinder, which was a foreign film in 1987, I believe. I looked that up earlier and I can't. So they just took his screenplay, yeah, 1987, and they took it and adapted it to make this story. Which the original screenplay in 1987 was praised as being one of the best foreign films in that time, and then it was adapted to this, which is just bad.
Yeah. The thing about it, like, so to your point, like, I think the reason why you might be thinking that like they're all stereotypical names is just because that's like kind of what I don't want to say that's what we're trained to think, but like because we're what you're white American,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. We were
So
not educated to have the best beliefs of the Native American people.
yeah, so that's my thought process on that.
Mm-hmm. Anything else then about the Pathfinder movie? Anything else that you want to talk about at all? Anything?
Man, like it's insane to me that someone sat through this
Mm-hmm.
and went, yeah, this is good.
At least this movie.
Mm-hmm. Just shocking to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. If you look at IMDb, 5% of the votes give it a 10 out of 10. That's 2,261 votes. So that's something. But it averages out overall. Like it says here that the two audiences that like this movie the most were males less than 18 years old and women over the age of 45.
Okay, weird demographic, but
Right? But the it's still not like good because the weighting it's split up here. everything else, like the males under the age of 18, they gave it a 6 out of 10. And then females, 45 and up, give it a 5.9 out of 10. But everything else is like 5.0, 5.4, 5.6, 5.3. Like,
Yeah, it ain't good.
I bet you anything if they even got rid of a lot of the slow motion and just paced out the movie like, a modern action movie where everything's at least up to speed, this movie would probably only be an hour long. And you could premiere it on daytime television.
Probably.
So yeah, I guess we'll call this a review here, and I'll give you your popcorns. How many are you giving to Pathfinder?
I'm giving it 1.
1 out of 10. Understandable. I was gonna give it a 3.
Gives it a 2.
Overall 2. Don't watch this movie. Save yourself the time. The hour and a half.
Yeah. Yep.
Whew. Let's move on. We're going on to our second movie for today, which is The Northman.
Which released April 22nd of 2022. Almost, weirdly enough, almost 15 years later. To the dot.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Anyways, budget of $60 million. It opened in the US and Canada with $12 million, and so far has grossed 22. While in the rest of the world, it has grossed $41 million.
I'll let you go first. What are your opening thoughts on this movie, Dev?
Dude, it was fucking rad. I had a blast with it.
Nice.
It was intense.
Mm-hmm.
It can feel a little long at parts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not really because it's dragging. It's just there is a lot in the movie.
Yeah.
So like that would be my initial thoughts.
Nice. Because I, for the most part, agree with you, honestly. I thought this movie was incredibly well acted. I thought the cinematography was amazing. I loved the depth and the long takes and the action scenes. I thought that was great. And like the body gore, violent stuff too. It was there. It was real, but it wasn't overly dramatic. Like a lot of movies like to do. My only real complaint is the structure. Like the I do agree with at times it does feel like it was a little slow, but my big complaint is like the 5 act structure. Because I don't like how it was separated literally with title cards between each chapter or each act of the movie. I would have preferred, even though this is nice, it is a good movie. It's literally like a stage play adapted onto the screen, which I can explain more in a second here. But it just the way it breaks to a screen cut to black and then has the title card, and it like kind of kills all the momentum that the movie's started, even though it doesn't like completely reset the movie in any means. It just takes me out of it a bit.
Yeah.
And I found this out the other day because I don't look this stuff up ahead of time. This movie, in case you didn't know, is based off of the same story that William Shakespeare based Hamlet off of.
Yes.
Yeah. So that I thought was also extra cool.
Dude, as soon as this movie started, I was like, this is Hamlet.
Yeah. I figured that out too. I was like, as I was watching, I was like, yep, this is Hamlet.
You wanna know how I knew it was Hamlet?
Because his name was Amleth?
No. Because I was like, oh, this is very Lion King.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting that, but I love it.
I mean, Hamlet for kids. Lion King. You know the story. If you've watched as a child in the '90s, you watched Lion King. You knew Hamlet before you knew Hamlet,
Mhm.
because that's what they based Lion King off of. Was the story of Hamlet. So, bam, we get this movie,
And
and
good.
yeah, I had a good time with it.
I especially liked like it was very gritty, it was very real. I loved the depth and the screen, like I said, but I also liked the psychedelic and ritualistic moments too. Like this movie started and my first thought was this looks like it'd be amazing and terrifying on shrooms.
You are such a fucking stoner sometimes.
Sometimes. It all depends on the day.
Uh, I think it's every day, Steven. Don't lie to yourself.
What about my aesthetic here? The tie-dye shirt with the long hair and the unshaved beard tells you that I'm not a hippie.
I don't know. None of it.
What I thought. But yeah, this movie, I 100% recommend. Watch it again and again. And I'm just kidding. You don't need to watch it a million times. But
But you can if you want to.
exactly. There's something to see every single time. It's enjoyable. It's very, very intense at times.
Yes.
I definitely couldn't look away.
Oh, very much. It does a really good job of what it's trying to do. It tells a really strong story.
Mm-hmm.
It's acted phenomenally. Like the entire cast
Absolutely.
is fantastic. Um like I don't think there's a weak link um that I can think of. So like it's really well done. So I was really impressed with it, and I'm glad we watched this, even if it meant we had to watch that other movie.
Yeah,
Um,
Pathfinder was a choice.
Not mine.
Nope. This was my week. I chose this week. That's 100% sure.
Uh huh. Just making it clear, I didn't choose that one. That was you. And we do have a few Marvel connections too, by the way.
We do.
With Ethan Hawke, who is currently in Moon Knight as Arthur Harrow. Which there's one more episode left, airing I think tonight / tomorrow morning.
Mhm.
Um, and then you got William Dafoe as Norman Osborn, somewhat of a scientist myself. Um, in the Raimi trilogy and Spider-Man No Way Home. And depending on how next week goes, we have Anya Taylor-Joy, who played Elena Rasputin, or Magic, in New Mutants.
uh, the New Mutants is.
It's canon to the X-Men movies.
Is it? Can we say it's kind of like the DC movies where it's its own pocket universe?
No, because it's in the pocket universe of Logan.
uh,
Even if it doesn't make sense, that like time-wise and stuff like that, it doesn't make sense.
hmm.
It's still in the pocket universe of Logan, which we don't know which time end that is. So
I would think that this takes place in like I know it has literal stuff from Logan, like little clips and segments and stuff. But like I think it would make more sense if it was in the other universe before Days of Future Past. But yeah, well,
I mean, you maybe.
not much more sense, but some sense. Let's see there. But back onto this. Um, there's literally like At no point did anything draw me out of this movie other than the title cards. I was astounded. I literally, the thing that kept me most engaged was the cinematography. The acting was amazing and the story was awesome. I loved how Alexander Skarsgård literally has, like, he's this ripped person when he's going around doing his Viking shit. But then the way he walks and becomes all meek when he's supposed to be the slave, I also think is incredible because it just looks like he's a completely different person. Even
The
though,
Skarsgårds are good.
yeah,
Like,
very good. But the one thing I find confusing is how he kind of looks like he has a hunchback. Even when he's all ripped, he's kind of still leaning forward.
he's got a lot of back muscle. Yeah, he's worked the fuck out. So he's got that back muscle going too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that's part of it.
That could be it, yeah. But it does seem like he's always hunched over to me. But it still looks cool.
Yeah, yeah, dude, it was just really good.
Watch this movie, people, because I there's just lots of praise. I don't even know where else to go without going into spoilers. And then even then with spoilers, everyone does kind of know the story already.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's a weird one to say, but it's a really good adaptation of a story we've heard a lot of times. With really good action, cool hints of mythology. Um, as someone who likes Norse mythology, it was really cool to see that. And just like really solidly acted. Like, dude, it's good. Um, like I can't there isn't a weak link in the cast. Like even the kid actors are all really good in their roles.
Yeah, they did great.
Um,
Like
it's
the
awesome.
the kid who plays Gunner, which I believe is
Elliot Rose.
Elliot Rose. I'm trying to remember whose son he was. I believe he was the uncle's son.
Yes.
Like this is only the second movie he's ever been in. He did great.
Yeah. 100%. Like like it just that like everyone in this like it just um they kind of just like kill it, honestly. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like everyone does just a really good job of solidifying what they're doing. Um makes it really makes it a really compelling story. Um to like take part of. Sure, like I said, might be a little long,
Mhm.
but like all in all, worth it.
Absolutely. I one thing just popped to my mind too. What did you think of the ending? Because normally when I think of a movie and how it ends, they have the climax and then it leads to like the resolution of the film, where it's like last 10-15 minutes and then everything can like wind down and then end of movie. But in this movie, it was literally the climax and then cut to black. Movie's done.
Um, I mean, maybe the climax had already happened, depending on how you look at the movie.
I guess, yeah. I would. I guess it depends. I wouldn't. Maybe the character climax happens, but I wouldn't say like the plot climax.
That's fair.
Like it. Like I both loved and hated the way the movie ended because it makes sense. This is a very from the perception of our main character movie, and I'm not 100% sure if we can consider this like a reliable narrator type thing. If he's reliable or not when it comes to what's happening and his view of what's going on in the movie. But ultimately, I liked that it also ended the way it did. I felt like the visions were a little out of place in the end, but at the same time, it they kind of needed to establish some sort of resolution other than the climactic ending, you know?
Yeah.
But all in all,
Yeah.
watch this for sure.
It's a good fucking movie. What if I gave you popcorns? What would you give it?
I would give this movie not quite a 10 for me, so I'll give it a 9.5. Is it a 10 for you?
Yeah. That is. It's not my fault, Steven, that we've gotten 2 10s in a row, which puts me at 4 10s for the year already.
And it's only
Um,
the first week of May.
hmm
This seems like a good year for you, Dev. Got some good movies out there.
Listen, we did Scream '96, we did The Batman, we did Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and The Northman. Those are my 3 10s so far. And there are other movies that have a good chance of being 10s as well as the movie continue or the year
I mean,
continues.
just next week. I suspect you're gonna have a 10 in there next week.
I don't know. I can't guarantee that Multiverse will be a 10. It just depends on how they portray certain characters. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, it's
From
the
what I
multiverse.
heard,
It could
what
be
I've
any
heard,
version of the character.
yeah. But from what I've heard, Liberty Chavez, or America Chavez, sorry, that she might not be the best portrayal of the character, which can affect that score. Um, so just throwing that out there. Um, but like we've got planned for a certain park theme movie. Um, in June, that one of those is probably going to be a 10 because it is arguably one of the greatest movies ever made. From a VFX and practical standpoint to a acting to a storytelling to like just a visual camera work and score. Um, So like, yeah, no, it's gonna be. Oh yeah, and we're doing. Yeah, when that month has 2 guaranteed 10s. I'm gonna put that out there now because we're also doing a fucking animated movie that is near and dear to my heart, and arguably one of the greatest animated movies ever made.
I mean, it's one of the first animated movies.
No, no,
Yeah. 3D animated.
no. I mean, sort of, but no. Bug's Life came out first. Everyone forgets about Bug's Life.
Didn't I say one of the first? Not the first?
I mean, Ants came out the same year as that.
Still, like,
There were 3D movies before Toy Story, okay?
mm-hmm.
Um, like yeah, no, this year has a good chance of some 10s like solidly throughout it because like we also got like later on the year we got Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, which could easily be a 10 given that you know Into the Spider-Verse was an easy 10. Um, like yeah, this is a solid year for me so far. I'm liking it. I'm liking this year so far. 'Cause what?
I love how this week is polar opposites for you too. Pathfinder was the lowest score you can give, and this was the highest
It
score you can
wasn't the
give.
lowest score I could give. I could have
Okay, you could
given it a
a point
point
five.
five.
You're not wrong.
I'm just saying. It was just very long and boring, but it wasn't Morbius. Come on. Like, if I had to choose between the two, I think I'd rather watch Pathfinder, which is saying something.
That is kind of saying
Speaking of,
something.
yeah. Speaking of Morbius, by the way, watch Eddie Burback's video, where he watches Morbius 5 days in a row. A shout out a video that I found hilarious on this channel because like it makes sense to shout it out. Eddie Burback's video about Morbius, where he watches it 5 days in a row and see if maybe people just aren't getting it, is fucking hilarious.
I was about to say that does sound kind of like an interesting concept.
It is. Because how he goes about it is awesome. Because I'll say this. He doesn't pay to see Morbius.
Oh, that's fun.
That's your hook, Steven. Go watch it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is an easy 10. I thought about it like coming out of the theater. I'm like, Steven's going to get mad that I'm doing 2 10s in a row, I feel like. But fuck it. I'm going to do 2 10s in a row for the last 2 weeks. I don't think I've ever had back-to-back 10s outside of like in the same week of movies, you know, because I had like last year Shrek 2 and the Mitchells vs. the Machines, which were back-to-backs. Oh, never mind. We did Lord of the Rings, and I gave all those 10s. Right. Never mind. 2020. Forgot about that. Forgot that we did that month, and then we did the horrible fucking month, the fucking week of the Hobbits. Ugh. Why did we do that? The Hobbit. Like, why did we do the Hobbits all in one day? That was a fucking mistake.
We wanted to get it out of the way, remember? We were like, this sucks. I know. Just get it over with.
I remember why we did it, okay? But I'm asking why we did it. Okay? Let me ask the question without being criticized for it. Thank you.
I wasn't trying to criticize. I was trying to come up with the answer.
I had the answer. It was hypothetical. It was a rhetorical. There's the word.
There you go. It was a high rhetorical question.
Yes. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like, this is definitely like an easy 10 because it's just like it's a solidly filmed, scored, acted movie. Like I don't think there's a thing that misses the beat.
Yeah, I got nothing other than spoilers.
Now,
yeah,
let's get ready to spoiler.
Okay. So, spoilers. Things to talk about.
It's Macbeth. Or no, it's Hamlet.
Sorry. Yeah, it's Hamlet.
My bad. Dude, I woke up like literally 5 minutes before we went live. I'm sorry.
I don't blame you. I kind of blame you.
I wasn't even up that late. Okay, fuck you. You know how hard it is to keep my current sleep schedule to be up for this fucking podcast?
I mean, I just don't play games past midnight anymore.
I wasn't up playing games past midnight.
I wasn't necessarily, like, I was just saying, in my instance, like, over the last few days, like, I'll stop doing things just because it's like, oh, I gotta wake up at 9 a.m. And I know waking up at 9 a.m. feels like sleeping in to some people. But no, that's just the time I wake up every day. So I'm like, I gotta go to bed before midnight so I can get my 9 hours of sleep.
Yeah, I don't know how you need fucking 9 hours. Still insane to me.
One of these days I might actually. It's probably when I actually get a real job that, like, makes me work for real. I might actually wake up in, like, 6 hours of sleep and whatnot, but we'll see. Yeah, spoilers to talk about. Things that I do want to talk about. I do want to talk about the ending. Because, I mean, I kind of want to talk about how we get there, too. Because the movie is, of course, Prince, soon-to-be king of Viking clan or whatnot, goes through, like, a ceremony with his father, and then his father is instantly murdered. And then he runs away. And, you know, Simba running away from Scar after he killed Mufasa. Yeah.
Kill the boy.
And then, yeah, sends the people to kill him, and then the boy manages to escape. which I loved the guy who with his nose cut off and that being a reoccurring character. I thought that was super cool, and I loved how he killed him by slowly stabbing him through the nose. that was that
I'm here
was
for the rest.
yeah, that was something. Um, I one thing that I kind of knew was gonna happen, but also like really freaked me out a little bit was when Nicole Kidman
Did her
starts
turn?
yeah, did her turn. I was like, I
Yeah.
knew this was coming, but at the same time, like, I'm getting real Oedipus vibes here.
Yeah. But like, she fucking nailed it.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, literally, like I said, everyone nailed it.
Yeah. No, there's really just not a fucking missed beat by any actor or actress in this movie.
Like the people that stood out to me, like the ones that felt like that could have been out of place, were Nicole Kidman and Anya Taylor-Joy. I thought they were the ones who would stand out the most, but they really just worked.
They did fantastic jobs.
Yeah.
So go see this movie. I think it's really good.
I wanted a little more of Willem Dafoe, if I'm being honest. Just because.
I mean, same, but that's there is such thing as too much Defoe. Um, but it does make me say this one thing, okay? Which I'm surprised we haven't reviewed yet.
Mm.
We should do the Boondocks, the Boondock Saints at some
Boondock
point.
Saints.
Ah,
It's that's a movie I've never seen.
really?
Mhm.
Man, the first one I have seen so many times. Second one not as much, but literally me and my friends, we all are back in high school. We would each be one of those characters from it. My two of my friends were obviously the brothers.
Mhm.
My brother was like the dad. I was Rocco. Um, Roscoe. I think it's Rocco. Um, and yeah, like we each had our quote unquote character from
Mhm.
it. It was great. Um, and yeah, we should watch that sometime.
Yeah, like I can give you a backstory too. Is because I was a stupid, ignorant person growing up, so I didn't. Because I thought the Boondocks, the cartoon, was related to the Boondock Saints, and I didn't like the
No,
Boondocks cartoon, so I never watched the Boondock Saints.
Boondocks cartoon is hilarious.
Yeah, me as an adult, I'd probably appreciate it, but I didn't like it when I was younger. I didn't like a lot of like adult animations when I was younger, honestly. Like I didn't like King of the Hill. I didn't watch Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Like
That's fair. Adult Swim was very much 100% hit or miss for kids from the 90s.
Adult
But the
Swim was mostly not for me.
the amount of episodes of fucking Robot Chicken I've seen.
Oh, Robot Chicken I watched. That was the only thing I watched off of.
So
uh,
I've seen that. I've seen a lot of Aqua Teen. I've seen what's the fucking metal one?
I know what you're talking about. It was like Death Face or something.
Metalocalypse.
Yeah,
I think.
Metalocalypse.
Um, I wasn't a big fan of that one.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one either. There was one that came out a few years later called like Home Videos, which is another one that I didn't watch.
Like it was hit or miss.
Have you seen what a lot of the shows are on there now? Like
No.
they are some of the worst animated cartoons that have ever existed. But they are still hilarious. Like you will watch somebody come up with like it looks like notepad drawings and just scribbles and they'll make an entire 30-minute TV show with it.
And make it work.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. If it works, it works.
it worked. um, yeah, back on topic though.
How dare you put us back on topic?
The ending, like I said, like I was getting at, like Nicole Kidman and her turn was interesting, and then with the character climax I was talking about, it could have been after um Amleth kills the family of his uncle. That could
Yes.
technically be the climax.
I would consider that the character climax,
Yeah.
because that's, I think, in a way, what that story is building to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that entire time, for me at least,
Yeah.
I feel is one of the builds.
Yeah, and then after that, like after he kills them, he goes to leave. I think no, other way around. He goes to leave and then he kills them. Right? Yeah. Um, and I did like the conversation that he had, though. I feel like he, like, of course, prophecy and like can be interpreted different ways. I almost feel like he misinterpreted the prophecy because it was something like I'm prophesized to either, um, protect the ones that I love or follow my anger and vengeance. And he says that he was doing both. But I feel like he was more just going after anger and vengeance and just misinterpreting what was going on. But then again, that doesn't matter. That's just character stuff. It still made a great movie.
I mean, like, if he felt that, like, his uncle would go to kill him for killing his son.
Mhm. I mean, only if they could find him, but
Yeah, weirdly enough, people were good at hunting each other down during that time. Weird thing, actually. I feel like I should mention, it was weird how often, like, people would be able to hunt each other down, right?
I mean, I am terrible at history, so I don't know.
Fair enough.
I just don't. But then once we get to the end, where they talk about the gates of hell, which is just an erupting volcano, and they fight in the volcano
With one
eruption.
With one L.
Yeah, hell with one L. And they're fighting in the erupting volcano, and it's very fascinating, that's for sure. But then, Alexander Skarsgård and Klaus Bang, they fight, and both of the characters are killed, and then the movie ends, and that threw me off a bit. Like I was saying, like I was like, I kind of wish there was more of like the slow resolution, but what happens is he gets stabbed, and as he's bleeding out, he has a vision of his family, like of Anya Taylor-Joy and his two kids living, and it's like she's talking to him like, yeah, we survived and we'll live a happy life. And then his kid, his daughter ends up becoming the crown. I think that was a daughter. I couldn't tell.
Yes.
Yeah. So his daughter ends up becoming royalty in some way, and then he's lifted off to Valhalla in that awesome, like, psychedelic imagery that they kept doing in this movie. And then just cut to black. The Northman. End of movie. It was interesting, like I said, because it was all from his perspective, so it makes sense that as soon as he dies, the movie ends.
Yeah. But you're gonna do the thing where you say you want more.
I wanted the resolution. Like, it resolved, but it just felt really abrupt. Like, all of this stuff was building up to this moment. The moment happened, and then it was over, and I was like, oh. It was super climactic, but it also felt anticlimactic at the same time.
Steven, I got a problem with you, real quick.
I know, I'm a hypocrite or something or whatever.
It's just, you always want so much out of movies. And the only way these movies get 10s anymore if they're kids' movies.
Hey, this was really close to a 10. Really damn close to a 10.
Yeah, but it was very climactic. It wasn't anticlimactic. That was a perfect end, because sometimes, guess what? There isn't a resolution. Things just end.
Mm-hmm. I get that. I do understand. Like, I'm allowed to have a preference and an opinion.
Yes, I'm just pointing this out. Okay, am I not allowed to point this out?
Yeah. I feel like my normal defense for that argument is also like every movie has different things and different aspects and how it all comes together, you know?
Yes.
So everything. Like that's why one week I'll say one thing and one thing I'll say the other thing because they are different movies and they have different approaches.
And that's fair. You rarely ever say it that way. Uh, but yeah, but like I said, it's a fucking great ass movie.
Mm.
Doesn't have any real issues. Ignore what Steven said about the ending.
It's beautiful. Like I would literally sit and just stare. I literally when I was trying to come up with a thumbnail for the image for today, which I literally just threw together, I was looking through pictures of the movie and I would literally just stare at the pictures because they look amazing. It's amazing, the symmetry and the composition and the lighting and the it's just I love this movie. And when it comes to its cinematography, it's just awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. Like just it's an enjoyable fucking movie.
One person that I wasn't expecting in this movie, Bjork. Don't know why I
Yeah,
wasn't.
I mean, you didn't watch any of the trailers, so that's why you're surprised.
Yeah, I was like, why is she in this movie? Oh, okay, it works.
Don't worry, that was one of the things that the movie almost like touted itself for having. It was like, we got Bork. Like, okay, good for you.
Oh, I also loved like the very beginning of the movie where we get to see not the very beginning, sorry, after the first chapter and after he's run away as a kid, and we get to the second chapter where he's with this new group of Vikings. Um, and he's pillaging whatever fort that they're infiltrating or whatever. I really liked how like he catches the spear and then tosses it right back. I thought that was super cool.
It was a good fucking choreographed scene right there.
Mm-hmm.
Very solid. Almost as solid as the rating, but Steven can't give anything a 10 because he has no joy.
Nope.
Sorry. Just an easy
Nothing makes me happy.
it's just an easy jab at you.
It's fine. It's fine.
You make it easy because it's just like you'll never give it a 10. So like I'll pester you until you break your fucking
Hey, when
your
I
fucking your 2 years. You have not given anything that wasn't a kids movie in 2 years a 10. Oh, never mind. You gave The Matrix a 10.
I feel like we just had this thing where you're like, I haven't given two movies a 10 in a row, and oh, it turns out 2 years.
Yeah, okay. You gave Matrix the end of last year a 10. It's the only movie you given a 10 though, Steven, in 2 years.
That's fine.
You didn't even give Shrek 2 a 10 and
Didn't,
add a kid's points.
didn't I give that one
You're
a
telling
9 or
me
something?
you give it a 9.5. You're telling me that that's an 8.5 overall for you?
Trick 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Telling me Mitchell's versus the Machines was an 8 for you. If you didn't give it a kid point.
Why does this fucking matter? Let me have my scores.
I'm just pointing things out.
Uh-huh. I get you.
That even kid's point, God, you would have given Big Hero 6 a 7.5 overall? Sorry, I'm looking at old scores.
Mm-hmm. And I like Big Hero 6.
I know. There's just no joy in your eyes.
There's nothing left to have happy.
Yeah.
I'm just a
All right.
hollow void of sadness
We know.
and self-pity.
Yep. Obviously. Anyways, on to news.
Um, sure, we can move on to news. Beep 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 beep. Thank you. uh, the news. All right, so movie news and stuff that's interesting. Like Dev said earlier, there is a show that has a Mr. Hawk in it, Ethan Hawke, called Moon Knight on Disney Plus, and it has its finale, as Dev said, tonight at midnight, or tomorrow technically. And the interesting news about that is it was going to be a series finale, and it's now considered a season finale, and they're going to make a second season of Moon Knight.
Thank God.
It's kind of like what happened with Loki, because I think Loki was originally going to only be a one season show, and then they're like, no, people liked it, so let's make it longer.
Yeah.
But then again,
I'm fine with.
yeah. But then again, if that was always like, if they only planned on making it a one season show, then why did they film the ending that they filmed, where it was a cliffhanger ending?
Wait, what cliff? Okay, listen. Okay, are you talking about Loki?
Yeah.
How much you want to bet they had multiple endings filmed? Based off of audience reaction is what you would have gotten.
It's possible.
I'm not going to put it past Marvel to be that prepared. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, depending on audience reaction, like they might have these things set up in a way that they're like, hey, unless they have something already planned, like they did with Sam Wilson's Captain America. Like, I bet you they might have multiple endings prepared for these, depending on reception. And depending if they want to have multiple seasons of it, depending on how the audience reacts. Like Hawkeye. Hawkeye wasn't the strongest audience reaction, but people enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So it works that they might just do one season with it.
Yeah,
So they introduce these characters. Same thing with what is it?
Falcon and Winter Soldier?
WandaVision made sense to only do one season because it was setting up for other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Falcon and Winter Soldier. What if good audience reaction and it's animated, easy season 2s, and more. Like that is a show that they could just continue till the end of time. And I would be perfectly fine as that being their like long running series. Is What If?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, like, What If would be interesting. My only complaint about What If is how much they compress into 30 minutes. But it is supposed to be like an entire universe in one episode, essentially, so.
Yeah, like you condense down things from a point of like, hey, this event is what changes everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that works really well. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool, and I'm glad that we're getting a second season of Moon Knight because so far it is fucking phenomenal, and I can't wait because like, dude, it's like Loki. I can't wait for season 2 of Loki. Whenever we get that.
Yeah, and I have no idea when that's going to happen either.
We'll see.
And then, let's see. Other news to talk about.
Oh, Quantumania and the Marvels switch places.
Oh, okay.
So we'll get Quantumania first in 2023, and then we'll get the Marvels.
Okay. Interesting. Other things to talk about. Oh, one other thing I actually want to talk about before we transition. Moon Knight. I wanted to talk a brief rundown with you real fast. You're all caught up with the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of I like the show, but I'm not super excited for it. It's hard to say. It's super fascinating, only because I like the way it's put together with the DID stuff. But I I think my favorite episode out of all of them by far had to be the last one, especially when it comes specifically to Oscar Isaac and his acting. Like that last episode was amazing.
He's a fantastic actor the entire series.
Yeah, absolutely. But like out of the whole thing, episode five's the best episode, which I think is interesting because episode like the second to last episode in all the Marvel movies seem to have this theme about like doing an analysis of the character internally before they get to be their like the superhero self, which some might argue is formulaic, but it's fine. They've only had how many movie or shows at this point? 5 or 6?
I think 6.
Yeah, fine, honestly.
Like Marvel's killing it with the shows.
Yeah, Marvel went from making 3 movies a year to making 3 movies a year and 6 shows a year. I'm just kidding. But like the
Usually
shows are
about
pretty
3
okay.
shows.
Hmm?
It's like 3 shows a year.
Yeah. The shows are pretty okay. Like there's nothing bad about any of them. I think the most boring show out of all of those was probably Falcon and Winter Soldier, but it wasn't even that boring. It was just a different story, a more down to earth story, which I actually liked.
Yeah. I mean, as the resident Captain America fan, that is one of my favorites
Mm-hmm.
of the shows. Because we get to see 2 of my favorite characters from the comics.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Other news. So, I know you didn't watch it, but I watched Jackass Forever, and I thought it was fun and funny. There's definitely some gross parts in there for sure, like every Jackass movie. But it turns out that after Jackass Forever, they're gonna do a new series, a spin-off series of Jackass. Um, and it'll be on TV again. It's not gonna be a movie, and it's probably going to be with the new cast that they introduced from the Forever stuff, Jackass Forever, because they introduced like 4 new people in Jackass Forever.
Right.
Yeah, so I could see them taking over the show. So if anyone cares about that, kind of like I do sometimes, just because I love silly, stupid stuff and people making asses of themselves. Let's see. Other things to talk about. Netflix today released a trailer, or more a teaser trailer, for an animated show that they're making called Sonic Prime, about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Saw that.
Yeah.
I think it could be interesting.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting, but I feel like the timing's weird. I don't know what it is about it. And how it like to me it feels weird that they're releasing a TV show so close to like releasing the movie, but they have nothing to do with each other. If they were more related, like they did with How to Train Your Dragon and DreamWorks, how they had a TV show between each one of the movies, that would make more sense to me. But it to me it just feels a little out of place. But I think it'll be a good show all the same.
Yeah. I think it should be good.
Let's see.
Sorry, I'm looking up something that I saw that I can't find now. Ah, here it is. Do you the worst thing that we could end the year at?
Okay.
Avatar or Running with Aliens, as I saw as one of the jokes that I really liked about it.
Running with wolves, running with aliens.
So, because like it's just it's a story about a native people trying to save their planet. And it's supposed to be beautiful storytelling. And I saw someone point out a fair critique is that, well, hey, guess what? There are Native Americans and Native people across the world who are trying to save the planet that we live on, and are ignored quite often. Um, so like the fuck. Um, But we had the title release for Avatar 2, The Way of Water.
Is it the Way of Water? I thought it was like the Child of Water or something.
Nope, it is The Way of Water.
See, because water, it's strong, and over time it will wear down even the sturdiest mountain. But it's also soft, goes with the flow.
Well, Steven, do you want to know the other 4 titles?
Sure, why not?
These are supposedly the leaked titles, okay? They may be inaccurate, but, you know, wouldn't be. I don't think they'd be far off of the truth. We have Avatar, the Seed Bearer. Avatar, the Tolkien Rider. The Tolkien Rider? Those fucking things.
Yeah, the bird.
And Avatar, the Quest for Iwa.
See, I'm glad they didn't go with the Seed Bearer, because that just makes me think babies.
Oh, that's the second movie.
Yeah.
Or after that, we're getting after this. uh, So in the past, the filmmaker James Cameron has said that Avatar 2 and 3 will both feature a ton of water work and will explore the oceans of Pandora. The Way of Water seems to speak to that. The filmmaker on Titanic as board of the cast sequels a character who's part of the sea people, the reef people. Could it be that the seed bearer relates to her character? Kate Winslet said this. As the quest for Iwe, the title may refer to the deity and goddess of the Na'vi, the native inhabitants of Pandora. The one that is really left up to speculation is the Tolkien Rider. Despite a relative mystery behind these titles, it's a relatively significant update. Man, I really don't want us to have to go through these movies.
but it was the highest grossing movie for like 12 years.
Care, Stephen.
It has such a great moral message about saving the environment while also spending the most money ever created on a movie at that time.
It's James Cameron's fucking stupid ass movie. Fuck it. I hate it. I don't want to go here again.
Oh man, it's funny. I just found an article from Variety posted today. And it's titled Tom Cruise said making Top Gun 2 would be irresponsible 32 years before making Top Gun Maverick. This here in the 1990, Tom Cruise gave an interview to Playboy magazine and said it would be irresponsible for them to try to make another movie. Fun times. I just think it's funny. Irresponsible and Playboy magazine. Good interview choice. Let's see. Apparently, there's news on Fast 10 as well. The director, Justin Lin, leaves the movie because he had an argument with Vin Diesel.
God damn it. Really?
Yeah, it says here, the very first line of this article is director Justin Lin parted ways with his Fast and Furious family last week, allegedly after realizing Vin Diesel was really in the driver's seat.
Yo, like, dude, Vin, come on. Get off your own fucking dick for 2 seconds. You jackass. Ugh.
It says here, according to the THR sources, Lin and Diesel and two executives met together to discuss Diesel's new notes for the script. Universal Pictures also had sent a writer to London where Fast 10 is shooting to polish the dialogue on set. And it says here that Justin Lin finally just had enough, said enough was enough, and this movie is not worth my mental health.
You want to know why the Fast franchise is living this long?
Because of him?
Because of Lin.
Yeah.
Lin's the only reason why this franchise exists anymore.
No,
Like,
it's because of family.
No, fuck off. He saved this fucking franchise. Like, with. Man.
It also says here from, let's see, theplaylist.com that another reason is the changes that Vin Diesel wanted to do made the budget skyrocket to be a $300 million budget.
Why? Why are they giving him? Why are they giving him this much power over this franchise?
No idea.
Stop.
It's because it's the last movie and it's Vin Diesel, and
is it the last one?
I hope. God, I hope. Like, I think it's silly that the 70s and 80s will be forever known as like the slasher era, where you get 12 of the same movies or same movies of the same character. And for us, the only ones that do that are Marvel movies and Fast and Furious.
I mean, the Marvel movies make sense, though.
Yeah. I mean, we have Mission Impossible, which is getting close. They have six movies. 5. One of those two. 6. And there's always going to be more. John Wick is working on 4.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here's another thing here. The Fast and Furious 10 budget reportedly cost $300 million, with the largest chunk of that going to actors' salaries.
How much going to Vin Diesel's salary?
That's, I think, the main question. Oh, yeah. It even says here, until they find Lin's replacement, Justin Lin's replacement, is going to cost Universal Studios $1 million a day, because that's how much it costs to rent the equipment that they're using to shoot. And he quit just before shooting began. Fun times. This is going to be great. I can't wait to see what kind of mess that turns into.
Man, I was hoping for a good, like, conclusion to a franchise I really enjoy. But now I don't know if I'm going to get that because someone can't get off their own dick.
See, I mean, that's also why Dwayne The Rock Johnson left too, wasn't it? Because Vin Diesel was being a dick. I wouldn't be surprised if Jason Statham never came back either, but that's another story.
Yep.
Let's see here. Here's an article from Slash Film that says, since, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World is coming out with a sequel soon, people are starting to interview Chris Pratt over that movie. And apparently one of the interviews, at one point, he mentions that Josh Brolin was actually considered for the role that he had. So could you imagine Josh Brolin being the one being like, "Us Raptors. Blue's my baby."
I mean, honestly,
I think it would have been fun. Get to see
think he would've
Cable.
done really- yeah. I could have gone with that.
It would be different for sure. It almost makes me think like if Josh Brolin were to play Chris Pratt's role, it'd be pretty Hellboyish.
Honestly, I could vibe with the franchise better.
Ah, they missed out then.
Yeah.
Fun
Because
fact.
he would have done that, like, just stoicness
Mhm.
to him. No offense, Chris Pratt plays a superhero, but he's not stoic.
No. I mean, what was it? Chris Pratt is, according to the internet, the worst actor out there. So,
I can agree. From the major Chris's, Hemsworth, Pine, Evans,
and
Rock.
Pratt. Yeah.
Am I missing anyone?
I can think of.
Yeah, I think he's the worst.
um Oh, for anyone, one other news thing. For anyone who cares about Star Trek, they have a new series starting today, I think, actually.
This one starring Pike.
Yep. Strange
Nice.
New Worlds.
Cool.
I'm interested to see that one. I think one thing I find super interesting about Star Trek and like their timelines is how they just do whatever the fuck they want with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have the original series, and then they jump to TNG, and then they have Space Nine, and then they do Voyager. All of those are within like 30, 40 years of each other, however long it takes. And then they decided, let's do Enterprise, which takes place like 100 years or so before the original series with Kirk. And then they decided, let's do Star Trek Discovery, which takes place before Kirk, around the era of Pike. So it's after Archer on the Enterprise. I don't know how many years. But then they decided to take Discovery to the future, way past any Star Trek that's been made. And then they also decided that they wanted to do Star Trek Picard, which is in the future after like Voyager, but not like way in the future like Discovery is. So they just kind of fill the dots wherever they want.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't have a lot to add because A, you've watched more Star Trek, and B, I'm starving.
No, I get you, and I'm kind of hungry.
You keep extending the length of the show by talking more and more about stuff.
We haven't even hit an hour and a half yet, though, Dev.
Steven, I don't give a fuck. I'm hungry.
Fine. You won't
We don't have to hit an hour and a half.
Fine. I won't like Dev when he's hungry. He's Morbius.
We don't have to go for an hour and a half. I don't know what put in your brain that we have to hit an hour and a half.
Nothing. It's just the time that I like to hit.
That's fair. But I am hungry, Steven. We are so close to wrapping up. Please. Whatever you got left, just make it quick.
We could be done. It's fine. It's fine.
Thank God. Fuck.
So,
I'm sorry. I'm hungry as fuck.
next week,
we got X-Men Origins Wolverine. Yay. And Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
actual yay.
Actually, I mean, you know what? I'm going to say this. Yay on watching X-Men Origins, because then we are done with the X-Men franchise. For good.
True.
Like, we're done with Fox X-Men movies after next week. We could go back to any Marvel movie, and I'm going to be fine. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Any other Marvel movie, I'm fine with rewatching. Even the Fantastic Fours, even Fan Four Stick. All right? Because we still have to do one of the Fantastic Fours, I think. And we still have Fan Four Stick, and we still have, like, Daredevil we haven't done yet. And the Blade movies. And if we ever really get desperate, we could go back to the 80s.
That's pretty desperate.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever be that desperate.
Depends on how we want to do things at some point. We could do it.
Uh,
What do you want to pair with Captain America 4? What about the original Captain America movies?
no, thank you.
But yeah, like I gotta say, like I could rewatch any of those because I haven't watched in a while. I have seen the X-Men movies, including Wolverine, X-Men Origins Wolverine, so many times. I don't know why I've seen that movie so many times. It's not a good movie,
It's
but
not.
I have watched it because of my fucking like teenage brain. I have seen it so many times. It's absurd. So thank God we can get it out of the way, and I may
Mhm.
never have to watch it again.
Sorry, you're not wrong. I want to say one thing and then we can end this. I just found an article here just because I was scrolling through Twitter. And apparently, China has asked Sony to remove the Statue of Liberty from Spider Man No Way Home.
Was the Statue of Liberty really in it that much?
It's where the final fight was.
Yeah, but like, was it even in there that much?
I don't think so. I mean, they talk about it being under construction a lot, but
It's covered up the entire time.
literally the article is file this under a lol what?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It needs to take place in Statue of Liberty. That's where modern superhero movies got their start.
I mean, it's almost like the character lives in Queens, New York.
Well, also I'm talking about the fact that like it's also an homage to superhero movies in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like modern superhero movies. I mean, Blade technically came out before, but if we're going off of like what we understand as modern superhero movies, X-Men 1. Guess where the final fight is? Fucking Statue of Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a small homage because like no other superhero movie has had its final fight at the Statue of Liberty.
I mean, but also like the X-Men movie is all about like diversity and like trying to overcome racism and whatnot. So it makes sense that they have the final fight at the Statue of Liberty, the symbol for U.S.
Yeah,
freedom, when the U.S. is
yeah,
very much not free. Like
yeah.
it's a poetic thing in that
Oh yeah,
instance.
yeah, yeah. I know, yeah, I know. I'm talking about that, but I'm saying like for No Way Home, it's like it's a homage to the last like 2 decades of superhero films that like are the reason why a movie like No Way Home could happen. It's a very small. It's a very deliberate choice
Mm-hmm.
to choose the Statue of Liberty as your final place of combat.
Not wrong. Okay. All right. That was everything, though. That was the last bit. I'm done. I've closed the news. I've closed Twitter. We've talked about next week.
You're gonna do all the things.
Yeah, all the
All the
things.
things.
Yep. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, leave a
All the
review,
things.
all the things. And yeah. See you guys next week.
He fights Blob.